All right, so now it is time for the top 10 palettes that I use and that I love. Now, these, since the last time I did it, changed slightly because I added more palettes. And in some of those palettes I added, I really love them. So this will be slightly different than my last top 10. But let's start off with number one. Number one was definitely in my last video. But we're starting off with this. This is no particular order. This is just 10 of my top favorites right now today. And like always, that can change based on what happens. This is Ellis palette by Blend Bunny. Y'all know y'all going to see several Blend Bunnies in here. You're going to see several LOGs in here, but just bear with me. And y'all can see some of my favorite shades. I really wish Voltage would be made in single form. All right, number two in the next palette is one that I use a lot. This is the Paw Print palette by Scratch by Cat. Absolutely gorgeous palette to use. Again, you can see the shades that I use the most. Yellow will be again in that orange. But when I do a lot of sunset looks, I use this palette right here. This is definitely a go-to for me. Number three is the Glam Book of Slay, or as my granddaughter would call it, the Makeup Bible. This is the Glam Book of Slay by Lashing Out Glam. Absolutely love this palette. You can see the shades that I'm all the way always digging into these browns here, that orange there, but I love the shimmers. This is definitely a go-to, and this is definitely was in my first video as well. Probably will always be in my top 10. Now, I know this one is a favorite for us all. This is the To Have and To Hold palette by P. Louise and Michaela. I mean, do I need to say what? Numerous shades and absolutely gorgeous shimmers in this palette. The next palette is the Bridal Series by P. Louise. This is 150 shades. You have 50 shimmers in this palette. You have 50 mattes in this palette. And you have, it's so big, y'all. Hold on. And you have 50 creams in this palette. This palette would be perfect for a makeup artist who actually does weddings, graduations, proms, and stuff like this. Everything that you would need is in here. All right, y'all. Y'all know what it is. This is the Pink Print by Lashing Out Glam. I absolutely love this palette. My favorite shade in this palette is CEO. So when I use this palette, CEO, even if I try not to use it, somehow ends up on the eye. I don't know, it just jumps on there or something. But I really do love this palette by Lashing Out Glam. Now, the last time I did one of these videos, a few months back, might be almost a year back, almost, honestly, Rotten was not in my collection. But if you know me, you know me, you know I go with Rotten real bad, and we stay in Rotten over here. What I love about Rotten is that when I go into Rotten, it clicks in my deepest creative mind, and every time I do a look from this, I look at the look like I didn't do it. Like, I love it that much. It becomes that creative in the thought, even if it's just a blended eye. It don't have to be like over the top creative. Even if it's just a blended eye, the way that I look at this palette when I go in, it forces me to be creative. And that's what I love the most about Rotten. The next palette, I didn't even pay a lot of money for. I want to say it was $8 or $12 when I got it. But this is the Eyes on Me palette by Yvette and Beauty Creations. Another fave for me. I used this one a lot this past winter. It is just a gorgeous palette. I love the shimmers. And this is one that really, I might just do 2 shades to blend, and I can just go in with a shimmer because I love the shimmers in here so much. But this is definitely a nice, small palette to use, and it is highly like pigmented. I think that's what I was most surprised about, was the pigment in this palette. Next is Sunset Evolutions by Slay Ready. And it's just a gorgeous palette. Love everything about it. Love the shimmers. It is actually highly pigmented as well. And I use this one quite often. So if you are a person who is not that familiar with blending, this is a good palette to use. Okay, and the last palette of today, and one that is new to my top 10, is a newer palette to me, and that is Diabla by Blend Bunny. And first of all, let's start with the two big pans of black and whites in this palette. So that's definitely a plus. And then again, similar to that last palette I showed you by Slay Ready, what I love is the colors and the color stories in this palette. And I also love the shimmers in this one, and the grays in this one are two of my favorite colors and shades in this particular palette. You got to love the ecstatic, the soft cover to this palette, and perfect art. So yeah, so that is, in no particular order, the top 10 go-to palettes that I'm going to all the time right now. Again, that changes. It changes based on seasons. It changes based on what palettes I have in my collection. Some of them, are the obvious ones. We're going to love a Blend Bunny. We're going to love a LOG palette, right? Others, like the Beauty Creations palette. That one surprised me. That was a really, really nice palette for a small palette, highly pigmented. The colors pack the punch that I need, and I absolutely enjoy using that palette as well. So I hope this helps some of you who are new to makeup and you're looking to get some nice palettes. And keep in mind, don't fret when the price is right, because if it's on my list, it's worth the price.